Today is a great day. The dash is finished. Well, after several times sanding and redoing the finish just to get the texture how I wanted it and as close to what it should look like, the dash is now looking really good. It looks brand new. Texture is not accurate to what it originally would have looked like, but it looks damn good. There we go. Here's the close-up. Here's the top of the dash. We can get a little closer. You can kind of see what the grain looks like. A little, not exactly the same as it was, but the size of the grain is very close. So it looks good. And still flexible. Take a look inside. Here we go. So there it is. All finished. Next step, strip all this crap off and let's see what it looks like after that. But I even redid the lower panel that goes under the steering column and the glove box door. So they both match. Everything matches. So when this will be installed, it'll look nice and even. Actually, better than I would have done when it was new. Because new, obviously the dash was made out of vinyl and this was made out of a different type of polymer, a hard plastic, and so color was slightly off. It was all never perfect, match between the two. So it's actually going to look better than it did, but just not the correct grain. So. It's like unwrapping a Christmas present. There we have it. All the tape's covered off. That looks really nice. The only downside is the grab bar now looks old. But other than that, it's just, yeah, it is what it is. Dash just looks so nice. Looks so good. So, took a couple days to get the dash done. As you saw in the previous video, we did the filler and we smoothed out the top and it was a lot of sanding. Did a lot of sanding to that, and then it came to putting on the finish. And the first attempt I did, it just didn't have the right grain, the texture. It looked awful, to be honest. It didn't look good. I wasn't satisfied with it. So color didn't look right. It was just a lot of different. I tried a couple different colors, top coats over it to see if that would make it look better, and it actually made it look worse. So sanded it all back down, reprimed it, resurfaced it, re-smoothed it all out, and then practice with the texture. With the texture coating, you can thin it out and to make make the droplets a little bit smaller. Which was what I did. I did a 50-50 mix with thinner and the paint, and it brought the texture in more into what I wanted, what I was looking for. And in doing so, it also made the color a little more even, because it just sprayed a lot better with the thinner in it. So my recommendation, if anyone does this process, it would be to not even bother with it straight out of the can. Thin it down before you put it in your spray gun, and you'll get at least in my opinion, a better finish. It's just a smaller grain texture, and it just looks better to me. And so that's it. Hope you enjoyed Dash project so far. We're gonna go work on a couple other things here and tackle those next. So in a previous video, we removed the outer bumper. Now it's time to remove the inner rusty metal bumper so that can get cleaned up and looking good again. Alright, let's see. I got one bolt off. It holds the bracket, so we got, looks like there's two fun bolts. We got an inner bolt, and you can see it. There we go. So we got that bolt there, and this bolt here that hold the bracket to the frame. Then the bracket is attached to the bumper, both here, up here, on this here, and down there, and same on the passenger side. Then there is a metal rod that goes all the way through both brackets on both sides. You can kind of see that rod goes all the way through. And of course, like everything else, they're all rusty bolts. Alright, well, couple issues. This bolt came off, no problem. Not, I should say, not came off the bolt. Bottom one didn't want to come out. It just spins, so it's a carriage type bolt, so it's got a, it's flush on the back side, and it's just kind of, it's held in place by it, the square, into a square hole in the frame there. So that one I'll have to get cut off. The other two top ones, this nut came off. Bottom one broke. One crank with the wrench, and it snapped off. So the bottom two seem to be, same on the other side, more problematic than the top. This side, the top two both came loose. This one actually started to come loose, and then just spins. It's just rusted and it's not working. The bottom two are kind of frozen and rusty, so, well, it's off. I had to cut 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, but it's off. So next step is to get these honking brackets off of there. I have to say that bumper a little bit on the heavy side, and I'm assuming these brackets aren't any lighter, so wish me luck getting these off. And the brackets are off, and those bolts came off a lot easier. You can see those nuts, they are pressed in. Once I took the nuts off, I just had to use a pry bar and a hammer just to pop them off, but they're off and ready to be sandblasted, cleaned, and painted, and then bolted back on. And then I can also finish cleaning up the frame rail that they attach to, take the core support off too, and clean that all up, make that look all nice. And it was also helpful in taking the engine out, and I can just take the engine and trans straight out and disassemble that off the car, and then put the new engine in with the trans and install all that. So, but before we put the new engine in, we'll have to clean up the engine bay, address the firewall, address that brake booster and master cylinder and lines, or replace all that, clean all that up, and yeah, so that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed watching today's video, and till next time.